Good morning to all, respected chairs, speakers, delegates, participants, organizing committee, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak during this Seafood Expo on inland aquaculture, the next export frontier. So, as you can see from my slide, the message of the presentation is very clear that India has already built the ponds. We have strengthened ourselves in terms of production through culture. Now, we should focus more on export readiness. That is, it's high time we move from the pond to the ports. With this backdrop, I go to the next slide. We have been listening to presentation during these 3 days, and this will be just a repetition, but still I'll repeat it. Seafood exports have recorded a high, like 19.32 lakh metric tons, and the total export value, $8.46 billion US. But let us see the share. 62% comes from aquaculture, and 3% just comes from inland aquaculture. This is the huge gap that inland aquaculture has, but here lies the great opportunity inland aquaculture can bring in terms of improving and increasing the exports. So with this much exports, our major market destinations are USA with 36.4% share, China 17.1%, EU 15.1%, and other Southeast Asian countries are 13.1%. So by showing this slide, I want to say that, as our earlier speaker sir told, shrimp is the major contributor to the export. And here lies the opportunity where we can produce more flesh, white flesh fishes, more that can be more in terms of volumes, as well as in terms of price, we can get more benefits for the farmers. And this market, we can target these markets and improve our production towards their requirements. Now coming to the global picture, this is from SOFIA FAO 2025 data. Global aquaculture has reached 142 metric tons, with aquatic animals 103 metric tons. And the top 5 countries are contributing to 82% of the aquaculture production, with China leading with 56%. And India, we are proud, India is the second leading country, but the share is 12%. And India's inland aquaculture, it mirrors the global production. If you see the global inland freshwater aquaculture, 64 metric ton, India contributes 63% of the global production, and for marine and coastal aquaculture, it contributes to 37% of the production. Now, the question arises, why? Why inland aquaculture is India's next export frontier? So total fish production for 24-25 is 19.50 metric ton, and we can see the inland aquaculture production is 15.1 million metric tons, and freshwater aquaculture alone contributes 12.5 MMT, and the productivity is 3.5 ton per hectare. So, and our Vision 2047 document says that we have to double this production to 24 metric tons, and our sector growth is directly aligned with all the national priorities like food and nutritional security, rural employment, climate resilient agriculture, and India's USD 6 trillion target, economy target. And strategic frameworks like Niti Aayog, Vision 2047, Blue Transformation, SDGs, Atmanirbhar Bharat, etc. converge on this particular sector that should converge on the export-led growth. Now, when you see the Vision 2047 target, I want you to focus on the last 2 columns. Right now, if you see the cold chain coverage and the export-oriented processing units, we do not have any. But the target for 2031 for cold chain coverage is 25%, and 2047, it has to go to 90%. Export-oriented fishing processing units, similarly, we do not have any, but by 2031, we aim to have 50, By 2040, we aim to have 150, and by 2047, we aim to have 300 units. So with this production focus, we can have an estimated sectoral value of 10.21 lakh crores. We can give direct employment to 35 million people and export earning by 2047. If we converge on all these principles, we can go to 2,12,500 crores. These are just the estimates based on the estimate that we have given for each parameter. Now, what resource base do we have? We have, you can see from the slide, we have enormous freshwater resource bases which can help us in improving the production and productivity so that we can achieve the production and thereby achieve the export-oriented targets. We cannot have more horizontal expansion, but we can have the vertical expansion. The present average productivity of 3.5 ton per hectare can be improved to 4 to 10 ton per hectare by resource renovation, improved water, seed, feed management. So we are bountiful in resources. We just have to focus more on production and productivity. Now, talking about Indian aquaculture, we are a major carp country. All the production from the culture is basically dominated by carps. It contributes to around 82%. The major species being Labiorohita, Rohu, Katla, Mrigal, Pangasius, and other species like tilapia, prawn, magur, and marel. And we have emergent production systems in the form of bioflocs, recirculating aquaculture system, cage culture, aquaponics, integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. And what is the diversification roadmap? We have 24 species standardized and field tested today, and 24 more species on the basis of species prioritization workshop that was held by ICAR. 24 more species are coming to our basket, and we are prioritizing more on the climate resilient and the locally, that is regionally imported species. So Niti Aayog target, like 40% of the agriculture, horticulture, fisheries harvest would come under value chains by 2047. So right now we are targeting for 20% by 31, and which has to go by 40% by 2047. And priority value-added products, as we emphasize, will be ready-to-cook and ready-to-eat products, fish fillets and surimi, collagen and protein hydrolyzers, nutraceuticals, pearls, and ornamental fish products. Now, if we look at the Indian freshwater exports, we are very meager, just 34,815.5 tons with a total export value of 412 crores. And our global reach is to 42 active global export destinations, and we have 7 distinct products in our export portfolio. Now, where does our opportunity lie? We have opportunities in the form of freshwater prawn. We have opportunities in the form of pangasius, tilapia, morels, crabs, ornamental fishes, trouts. As I heard from the yesterday speaker, our first consignment of trout has reached Nepal. We have we can have markets for processed carp exports and hilsa. We are standardized in the breeding practices, and in the few coming years, we will be able to export hilsa, probably by culturing them in freshwater RAS or biofloc systems. And when we increase exports, we also need to reduce the imports. We have to do the indigenous broodstock development. We have to have the domestic fish feed ingredient productions, and we have to have our indigenous diagnostics and therapeutics, and we need to have local hatchery development. These are our, what we are emphasizing. And what is the current status in production? I'll come to the slide. Like India's export of tilapia products, as we can see, it was 2,500 tons exported per year with a valuation of USD $3 million, and the share was 97% was with whole fish, and less than 1 ton was with fillets. The whole fish dominated the export chain. Fillet trade somehow collapsed, and it again increased, and value held steadily overall. Like the total export value closely stayed to USD $3 million. And in 2024, it is not from a verified source, but from public domain, we have exported 4,152 tons of tilapia from our country. Now coming to the next species, there is Scampi macrobrachium rosenbergi. As you can see that from the graph, from the 2019-20, the production has tripled from 9,000 to 25,000 metric tons, with the steepest jump, that is 157% during 21-22. And if you see the state-wise area under culture and estimated production, we can see West Bengal and Telangana together contributes around 85% of national Scampi output, while Odisha and Gujarat anchor a growing second tier of the producing states. The reason for showing the graphs is that the figure is that West Bengal and Telangana, followed by these 5 countries, can help if we give the technologies and if we more focus on government initiatives, then the production from these states can also be enhanced. Now, why is Scampi holds strong export potential? It has premium price realization like shrimp, as it is a high value crustacean. It commands significantly higher kg export prices than the other commodities, and it has shown 160% growth in the last 5 years, and beyond traditional hubs of West Bengal and Telangana, Odisha, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh are emerging as additional supply channels, reducing a single region risk. And what will be the structural tailwinds for export scale-up? We should allow freshwater culture model into inland, non-coastal states with available pond and reservoir infrastructure. We have to establish cold chain processing infrastructure. We need to give hatchery and seed technology improvements. And we have to have, and because of this, we'll have consistent multi-year output that will signal the overseas buyers. Scalable supply will be there. It will not be a one-time growth story. Now, if you see the data, we are already moving in the right direction with a positive 6.42% in quantity and 23.22% in value in terms of rupees and 18.96% in terms of US dollar. And unit value of Scampi export rose from 11.79%, indicating exporters are capturing better prices per ton shipped, not just moving higher volumes. Next species export dominant that can be our focus for export is Pangasiodon hypothalamus, and we can see from the curve that the production increased 10 times from 2019-20 to the 2021. The peak is showing 20456 tons. So Pangasius can serve as an alternative as a low-cost fin fish, and after a decline in the year 22-23, we have seen a surge of 22% in the year 23-24 with 152,299 tons. Now, why Pangasius is built for export scale? We have that at 152,599 tons, the Pangasius production dwarfs other export-oriented species like crabs and sea bass, giving exporters reliable bulk supply and fast growth rates. It shows fast growth rates. Low feed conversion ratio makes Pangasius price competitive against tilapia and other whitefish in export markets. And we already have the hatchery technology, culture technology are already established domestically, enabling rapid capacity response when export demand fires. Next comes our ornamental fish. We can see the export volume is 59.73 crores to 60 million tons. Export value is 16.94 crore rupees. So freshwater species dominate global demand. Nearly 80% of the worldwide ornamental fish traded in comes from the freshwater base. And India's share of global ornamental fish is negligible. That's only 0.53%. Here we have a lot of potential. We can improve our export of the live ornamental fishes. The potential states that can be identified for ornamental, we have an ornamental fish cluster in Tamil Nadu. Other states like West Bengal, Maharashtra, Kerala can also be focused. And we already have reached indigenous biodiversity of ornamental fishes in the Western Ghats, in the northeastern areas. We already have ready-to-scale technology for the production, hatchery, and grow-out culture of the ornamental fish. And ornamental fish can be focused as a women-led enterprise, and clusters can cold chains can significantly improve the export chain. Having said that about tilapia, scampi, pangasius, and ornamental fishes, we say that India is a carp country, and its contribution to export is almost negligible. This is the carp paradox. With 9 million tons production of the carps, our export is less than 1%. So why, like we say the carps feed the nation, can also carps feed the export? Here lies an opportunity to make carps as an export-oriented enterprise, probably by having value chains, cold chains, and processing industries. Now, why carps are not having much export demand is because of the pin bones. These are bony fishes, and our markets, they want filletings, good fillets, are ready-to-eat products, which the carps is not able to give, and it is a large underused base. As we say, 80% of the culture production comes from carps, so we have large production, and already pilot-level technologies are available with ICAR CIFA and ICAR CIFT for deboned carp, fillets, nuggets, and chunks. So, and we see our neighboring countries, Vietnam, how they're exporting the pangasius fillets. Frozen boneless pangasius earned Vietnam roughly $2 billion in 2024 with production of 1.67 million tons and sold mainly to the China, European Union, and the US. Similarly, our neighboring country, Philippines, they exported deboned milkfish. Milkfish is very similar to carps. It also has pin bones, and they formed this boneless bangur. They built a dedicated framework of quick frozen fillets, export traded to the US, Japan, and the Europe, even at very far small volume than India. So what would it take for India to have a carp-built export industry build that? We have to scale the already available pilot scale technologies of CIFA and CIFT, filleting protocols from pilot tails to commercial processing units. We have to set dedicated carp processing clusters. We do have 34 inland aquaculture cluster models, but right now we do not have any processing clusters. So at the right time, government can take an initiative for carp processing clusters and build frozen boneless carp, fillet, nugget, and milk line for premium retail and new export markets. And we have to target the US, European Union, and Middle East markets that are already buying this boneless pangasius and milkfish from the other countries. Otherwise, if we do not build on our processing capabilities, carp will always remain within the domestic consumption only. We cannot make it an export-oriented business. The way ahead. Now, this is the right time why inland aquaculture can be our next export there, because government is giving momentums, government is giving the necessary push-ups, and we have all the proven aquaculture technologies, and the right time to merge these for our next way ahead. If you can see from the export momentum, seafood exports rose from just 50,000 crore in 2019-20 to around 73,890 crores in 25-26, and inland fisheries dominates the aquaculture scenario. It is 15.1 million ton from 19.7 million ton, and government investment since 2050 has reached 40,000 crores, and shrimp still contributes 66% of export earnings. Diversification from shrimp is therefore very economically prudent in the days ahead, and we have all the official readiness signals. We can see India's share in global production 12%. We can develop 35 million livelihoods. Fisheries is giving to the contribution to the GBA is 3.41 lakh crore, and average annual growth sector of this sector is 7.87%. And infrastructure that are under pipeline under PMSSY are 23,000 hectares of new pond areas, 52,000 hectares of reservoir cages, 27,000 transport units, 634 value units, 6,800 market chains, and 21 modern wholesale markets. Data are as of 5th March 2026. Now already this I will not repeat it. We have already our freshwater production base is quite large. Inland aquaculture is 15.1, and from that freshwater aquaculture is 12.5. We have already also have a freshwater aquaculture base, so we can also use this for our export productions. Now, what are our moves? Next moves will be, we have to invest in cold chain and processing. We have to close the gap between farm gate and export grade quality. We have to build value-added products like fillets, mince, surimi, ready to cook, not just whole and raw fish, because export market requires different types of products. So we just cannot have whole fishes and then we have to scale the blockchain and the digital traceability to meet the standards. We have to expand our certification coverage like HACCP, Sapahari, BAP among small and mid-sized farms, not just large exporters. We have to target specific strategy. We have to defend the tilapia's price production, build pangasius domestically, and unlock carp by processing innovations. Now, what are our roadblocks? We have already discussed this: quality and cold chain, global competition, value chain weaknesses, and climate. We have rising temperatures, water scarcity, disease outbreaks, threaten both yield and product quality. So these are bottlenecks that has to be dealt technologically. And 4 technologies that can reshape export competitiveness: genetics and genomics, smarter farming systems, feed and health management, and digital traceability. This is CIFA technologies. CIFA has become a brand by itself in terms of genetic improvement programs. We have 3 very distinct improved varieties. Jayanti Rohu is an improved variety of Rohu with 50 to 60% faster growth. Amrit Katla shows 30% faster growth, and CIFA GI Scampi shows 55% faster growth. So we can have 5.2 lakh tons of additional fishes, and Rohu has gone to 18 states, Katla has gone to 13 states, Scampi has gone to 10 states, and we can see from the graph figure, it is because of these improved varieties, our combined economic impact is roughly 8,000 crores now. So genetic improvement programs will definitely help in the future exports, because we can have a larger export surplus, we can have the consistency, like we do not have the risk that this time production will be there, this time production will not be there. The consistency will be there with the genetic improved varieties, and with better price position. We can have the better price position with the improved varieties. Now, why only fishes? We can also devise these smart gadgets that can help us domestically to improve the production, as well as we can also use the sensors, gadgets that improve the production scenario to export. We can export our gadgets outside, so this can also contribute to the inland aquaculture export. Now, this figure shows ICAR CIFA's contribution. We have captive breeding and seed production for 40 food fishes, and hatchery technology and culture technology for 20 ornamental fishes. Days ahead, these are going to cover the country, and I'll just conclude my slide by tagline: we have built the ponds, now it is high time we build the brand. Thank you, one and all.